Hey everybody, Tom Lunfesti, attorney with NC Planning. Just back today with our daily counsel on March 25th. Again, our goal based on unknowns, uncertainties, resources that are changing every day, every hour. We're putting these videos together just to provide a little bit of update to everyone. Hopefully of practical tips, hopefully of legal knowledge that we're sharing with clients on a daily basis. Jump right into it today. We'll turn it over to attorney Lauren Maxey. Lauren, what can you tell us about what you're seeing, what you're doing with clients as of the last couple of days?
Yeah, and so as we're continuing to check in with clients, the regular day-to-day life items are just presenting a lot of challenges, and that's of course incredibly frustrating. And so it's chatting with people, letting them know we're here to talk, and hearing from clients and learning from different outlets that there's a lot of resources that are out there. And so it's simple things like stores are coming together and offering early hours for those that are at risk, or elderly individuals can, like Harris Teeter is a great example. They're doing on Thursday mornings, essentially opening up an hour early. You can still do the express lane pickup and they're waiving fees for that. So if you have to go out somewhere and you have to get supplies or something like that, what we've heard a lot of people are doing is calling the store, asking, do you have any special hours, limiting exposure if at all possible, doing deliveries and things like that. And that's, again, just taking extra precautions, still trying to shelter in place as much as possible, but sometimes you need to get some supplies in the house. So like I said, doesn't hurt to call the store, Walmart, Costco, Lowe's Foods, all of them are doing something. So of your store of choice, give them a call, check in. And then again, we're here as well. We like to check in with clients, make sure everyone's doing okay. So knowing that we're just a phone call away, if you're struggling, if a loved one is struggling, check in. Again, it's a little outside the typical legal scope of things, but we're here to help. We're here to help plug into resources as much as possible. So don't hesitate to give us a call.
Perfect. Yeah, I think one of the positive things this week, Lauren, is we've seen, the amount of, care and community and business response, right? To try to adapt, on the fly and provide resources to higher risk or really to anybody, kind of under this new environment. So great things. And I know you continue to fill, calls and kind of, video conferences from clients on all different matters. So again, here to help as needed. Kind of turn it over to Mike. Mike, some updates based on late night vote last night with kind of the, I guess, third phase of the federal relief. Can you kind of give us an update of what you're kind of seeing at this point?
Sure. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Lauren. I don't know if it's switching over or not, if it's picking me up. Can you guys hear me okay?
We can.
We still have Tom on screen, but hopefully that'll shift over. In any event, coffee is the key right now. This has been late night tracking. You can access some of the live feed from the floor of Congress on YouTube. Put in a search for that. I was extremely frustrated last evening as I was trying to get updates, and I'm literally watching an empty congressional floor with folks. I felt like Tony Stark in the Avengers, like, that man is playing Galaga on his laptop. We know it. He didn't think we'd notice, but we did. And then come to find out at about 1 a.m. last night, the Senate approved the stimulus. Apparently this was in part behind closed doors in Mitch McConnell's office. I'm not certain of what that looks like. They don't have that on YouTube, but essentially we think we are going to get this now. It's been approved by the Senate, needs to go to the House for review and approval, and then the president's desk. If I had to make a guess, I would say we're looking at today or tomorrow. I think it's supposed to update today around noon, so we shall see. Wanted to talk briefly high level and then drill into some of the granular details on the stimulus. There are sort of these three phases or three pillars that we're looking at with relief that's out there right now. We talked a little bit yesterday about the EIDL loans, the SBA economic injury disaster loans. That's a part of it. That's something that's been fixed. It's been in place. You can go to the SBA and apply for those right now. Those are limited. They're a little bit more in the line of traditional or whatnot. And again, I think that's an either or proposition. So if you can, I think hold out and let's see what the availability is on the stimulus coming down under the CARES Act. The second phase or second pillar that we're looking at is the the coronavirus related legislation that's already passed for some expansion on the FMLA and paid sick leave. If you have employees of your business who cannot make it to work for COVID-19 related reasons, there are going to be some requirements there that you have to pay as an employer for their sick leave. And then there is a section of that legislation that entitles you to certain tax credits or rebates or whatnot to recapture some of that cash outlay on the expansion of paid sick leave. And then again, the third pillar or third phase being this economic stimulus package that is currently working its way through Congress. What we're looking at there and some of the specifics and what we expect is number one, these are going to be loans like we discussed yesterday a little bit that are going to fall under approved Section 7A lenders with the SBA. Whereas traditionally these types of loans are backed 75 to 85% by the federal government, and then the local lender picks up the remaining 15 to 25%. These new proposals of the new SBA loans for stimulus, for relief related to COVID, these are supposedly going to be 100% government backed. They are going to provide relief to small businesses that is apparently going to be defined as a business employing 500 employees or less, where those businesses have been, quote, adversely impacted by COVID-19. What does adversely impacted mean? I would encourage everybody to take this right now at face value, let common sense be your guide, and let's wait and see what parameters are around it once the legislation is signed into law, because that's about all we know right now. The loan are going to, or loans, excuse me, are going to be about the lesser of $10 million. So that's sort of the cap, that's your ceiling, but it's a lesser than formula, or the average of total monthly amount of specific fixed costs of the business. So again, 10 million is your ceiling. Don't get overly excited. Not everybody's going to qualify for $10 million in loans. You're going to take a look at, I believe it's going to be your annual average of certain fixed costs. And the way they define those are payroll, mortgage or rent, and debt obligation payments. And then the other item I wanted to touch on there is that the two areas that you're going to potentially receive either loan forgiveness or tax credit on, again, this is an SBA loan, so there's a repayment mechanism, but then we also expect there to be some type of tax forgiveness element, or tax credit element, excuse me, and loan forgiveness element. We believe those elements are going to apply to the payroll and the debt obligation usage of those proceeds, but those forgivenesses, those credits may not apply to mortgage and rent payments. So I want to touch on that because what I've kind of come up with and my team in discussing strategically is, as a business owner, you're going to want to take these proceeds if you qualify, if you apply, and we are here to help with that. Let me mention that. We can get to more of that. But if you apply and if you qualify, you want to use those proceeds to pay your payroll and pay your debt obligations, vendors and things like that. That's where you can receive probably tax credit, loan forgiveness. These proceeds, if you have to pay rent, if you have to pay your mortgage, do what you have to do. But as an alternative to that, if you're paying mortgage on your real estate that you own for your business, contact your lender there and see if there's some type of forbearance program that could be worked out. If you're paying rent, it might be a good time to talk to your landlord and look at potential rent abatement strategies. Can we put the rent on pause? Can we apply it to the back of the lease? Could we take that amount and spread it over the life and increase the lease payments? All discussion points that I think need to happen on a case-by-case basis of what you may need as a business owner and what your landlord or your mortgage company may be willing to do. Another point on the payroll, these costs look to not include compensation payments to anyone making $100,000 or more. Again, what are the parameters around that? We have to wait and see in the legislation. Is it going to be no payments whatsoever, or is it going to be capped at $99,000 or something like that? We're in a little bit of a wait and see mode there. And again, we expect updates today, hopefully around the noon hour.
Yeah, and I think, Mike, the biggest thing that I know you and the team have been kind of looking at is it's not a question of maybe can business owners who, most small businesses are impacted, are in need, some severely so. It's not a question of maybe are you eligible for an SBA loan. It's going to be using those loan proceeds for the right reasons, and potentially those that are attached to eligibility for forgiveness, right? So basically, this is government benefit money to make payroll or other things. And I think that's the key part that I know everybody's kind of looking at right now is the eligibility for that forgiveness portion, to make sure that, if you get those proceeds, those loan funds, which should be a quick turnaround based on what they're telling us right now, then once you have them, using them for the proper purposes and making sure that you potentially can get really benefited based on loan forgiveness of any amounts you use for certain areas. But definitely more to come. I think that's a great overview. I think the big thing is, Mike, the total team has been very busy with fielding calls from, clients, other business owners that are in crisis mode or soon to be in crisis mode. And I think there are options available right now. There's options coming down the road as this legislation gets finalized. And as Mike kind of noted, I think, Mike, right now, you guys are starting to work with these clients in de facto as borrowers counsel, right? Helping them prep loan packages or at least gather the documentation that may be needed. Is that right?
That's right. So we've had calls this morning. I was on 2 of them. We've got more for this afternoon. It's folks calling in with questions about it. I think, we're fortunate as legal practitioners to be in an industry where we can work at 100% capacity from wherever we are. If we have a laptop and a cell phone, we can get the job done. And so a little bit of it is letting letting our clients know that we're still here. We are still fully operational. Call us. And we're here to work with you. Again, this is an evolving situation. We're becoming educated on the particulars day by day, but trying to be a resource there for the client and develop a checklist and a platform that will allow us to seamlessly help them get their documents in order and apply for these loans for hopefully some expedited relief.
Yeah, I think the big thing is they're expecting a real rush and kind of overload to SBA already qualified lenders. I think they're going to try to get more banks that aren't SBA specific to be part of the program. But anything you can do probably right now, which is where these calls and client calls to kind of start preparing so that you can get those, loan applications in and then determine eligibility for any of those forgiveness or otherwise. The good news is there's help. There is, different sources and still more evolving and definitions to be kind of defined, so to speak, specifically. But it's a great overview, Mike. I know you and your team are extremely busy, so we'll kind of wrap it from there. Mike and Lauren, thank you again for doing this on a daily basis. Again, to all of you out there, appreciate the comments, the feedback back. We're a phone call and an email away. Just let us know how we can help. Thanks so much.